Alright you guys, in today's part we're going to be covering a lot of stuff and we're going to be unveiling some of the stuff that you guys have been waiting for. But here's a big thing, there's only 2 more parts after this one, so I'm getting excited to see the conclusion of this what if. How about you? But anyway, let's get into today's video. Last time, we saw Jessy challenge Juan at the Sutopoulos gym. After a brutal showing from xCloud, Jessy earned the range badge. Then, she headed to MOSSDEEP City, while James challenged another contest to train with his new Dusclops. In the end, losing to May in the finals, and making the decision to head to MOSSDEEP City. Then, we saw Domino infiltrate the MAGMA ship, in which not only learned Dr. Namba had joined Team MAGMA, but also it seemed Butch and Cassidy had also joined. With things heating up, Team MAGMA and AQUA nearing their goals, how will this end? We pick up with James arriving in MOSSDEEP City. He heads to the Pokemon Center, and upon entering, James is met with his old friend Jessy. The two get to talking, and Jessy asks James how many badges he has. James says 6. Jessy is relieved that her and James are equal, as the last time James had more badges than her. James then makes a suggestion to Jessy. They have a practice battle to get ready and warmed up for their next gym badge. Jessy likes this idea, and they head outside to the battlefield behind the Pokemon Center. They agree that it'll be a 3-on-3 battle. James leads with his Medicham, and Jessy leads with Claydol. The 2 Pokemon enter battle, and they are evenly matched, and the 2 end up knocking each other out. Jessy tells James that he has gotten much stronger, while James tells Jessy it seems that she has her confidence back. Jessy then sends in Seviper. James remembers that Seviper and Zangoose are mortal enemy, so he sends in Zangoose. But this seems to be a mistake, as the 2 Pokemon have such a deep-rooted hatred for each other that they won't listen to Jessy or James, and as a result, they have to recall the 2 Pokemon, because all they do is attack each other without any orders or stopping. Then, out of slight desperation and wanting to prove her power, Jessy decides to send in xCloud. Knowing that xCloud won't listen to her, she hopes that xCloud is at least strong enough to win her the battle, hoping that she can try and make some progress in its training here. James commends Jessy on evolving xCloud and tells her he will match her power and sends in Lairon, but it quickly becomes apparent that Jessy can't control xCloud, and James is onto this. It attacks Lairon relentlessly, and Jessy tries to recall it, but xCloud refuses to return. James realizes that the only way to end this is going to have to be to knock out xCloud. But Lairon has taken a lot of damage because of xCloud's brick breaks. James calls to Lairon to hold on. He knows that he can win this. Just then, Lairon starts to grow, and it lets out a loud roar as it evolves into Aggron. James is so excited. He was wondering if Lairon would ever evolve, but his excitement is short-lived as xCloud attacks without an order. James orders Aggron to counter with the Rock Tomb. This traps xCloud, and then James orders a Double Edge. This is enough to knock down xCloud and give Jessy enough time to recall it. Aggron stands victorious, and James is excited. Aggron lets out a loud roar as it establishes dominance. James then recalls Aggron and approaches Jessy. She says, "Sorry about that. Ever since xCloud evolved, it has been uncontrollable, and it seems to be getting worse." Then James tries to say something, but is interrupted by 2 different voices. Then these 2 kids approach Jessy and James. They introduce themselves as Liza and Tate, the gym leader of MOSSDEEP City. James says, "Great, we are here to challenge the gym anyway." Liza tells James that they saw their whole battle, and though the last 2 battles didn't play out that well, during the first battle between Medicham and Claydol, they seem to counter each other, like Jessy and James have known each other for years. Jessy says, "That's because we have." Tate says, "Great, then why don't we make the gym battle a battle of intensity? You see, here in our gym, normally the challenges have to battle us in a double battle to earn the badge, but I see a unique opportunity here. You 2 versus us 2, and if you both can beat us, then you'll both get a badge." James welcomes this challenge, and so does Jessy, even though her problems with xCloud are freshly in her mind. They all agree to the terms of the battle and part ways. That night, Jessy and James spend all their time strategizing for their upcoming battle. The next morning, Jessy and James head to the gym. Liza and Tate greet them, and they tell them that they are excited at the prospect of a double battle with 2 other trainers, as it's something they don't normally do. The double duo head inside and get to work. Liza and Tate lead with their trademark Pokemon, Lunatone and Solrock. After asking around last night, James had learned that they were a psychic-type gym who uses Solrock and Lunatone, so he and Jessy had decided to craft their strategy to counter them. Jessy sends in Lileep, and James sends in Dusclops. Jessy starts with an Ingrain to engage with their stall strategy, while James orders a Shadow Punch. This combination is less than impressive. Liza and Tate easily counter it. They fire back with a Psychic and Flamethrower alone, both aimed for Laleep. Both attacks hit and Laleep is severely damaged. But then James orders Dusclops to strike, and it fires a Shadow Ball, which connects with Lunatone and sends it flying in the direction of Laleep. Then Jessy orders Laleep to use Mega Drain, which connects, healing almost all of its damage. That's when Liza and Tate realize Jessy and James baited them. They wanted Liza and Tate to focus on Laleep's setup, as it would be extremely difficult to knock it out if it got set up. That way, Dusclops could strike. They commend Jessy and James on their little technique, but declare it won't happen again. The battle commences, and Liza and Tate are in perfect unison, and they choose to focus on Dusclops because Laleep has regained all of its health. But Jessy and James start the next plan. While Dusclops is getting double teamed, it is a ghost type, so the damage is minimum and it is rather tanky. James orders Dusclops to grab Solrock, and then Tate, in response, orders a Solar Beam. As Solrock charges the Solar Beam, Dusclops rushes towards Laleep. Then, right when Solrock gets ready to fire the Solar Beam, Dusclops throws Solrock at Laleep. Tate orders Solrock to fire at Dusclops, but James counters it with a Shadow Ball. The two moves collide and create an explosion, but Solrock hits Laleep, and Laleep is able to hit it with a Toxic. Liza capitalizes on this and orders a Side Beam on Dusclops. Jessy counters it with an Ancient Power, and James orders a Will-O-Wisp on Lunatone. Lunatone is now burned, and Solrock is poisoned. Liza and Tate are on the clock. This is what Jessy and James wanted, but it came at a cost. Dusclops is tired, and James can see it. James orders a Shadow Punch on Lunatone, but it dodges it and uses Psychic. Dusclops is hit, then Solrock follows it up with a Flamethrower. This is not enough to knock out Dusclops, but one more move will take it down. But Solrock and Lunatone are starting to feel the effects of the burn and the poison, and Laleep fires an Ancient Power that connects with Lunatone. This is enough to knock it out. Solrock then fires a Flamethrower at Laleep, but Dusclops gets in the way and fires a Shadow Punch. The two move hit each Pokemon. Solrock is still up, but Dusclops falls. Now, Laleep is left to face Solrock. It fires another Ancient Power, as it is locked into place by the Ingrain. Solrock is getting tired from the battle, and Tate can see it. He then orders Solrock to use Explosion, as if they can't win, then neither will they. But as the dust clears, Solrock is knocked out and Laleep stands. At the last minute, Jessy called for Protect, eliminating any damage and winning the match for Jessy and James, earning both Jessy and James the Mind Badge. Liza and Tate congratulate Jessy and James on the battle well fought. They then head back to the Pokemon Center. Later that night, both Jessy and James are talking over their next moves. Jessy's next stop is Fort Tree City, while James is in Sootopolis. Then they get a call on their Pokedex, which is strange. They didn't even know that it had these functions. It's Domino, and she needs their help. Team Magma and AQUA have mobilized, and they are in the final phases of their plans. Jessy and James's destination is Monsoon Island. There, Team Magma and AQUA have agreed to meet and make some sort of trade, and Domino informs them that it seems that Butch and Cassidy and Dr. Namba have joined the side of Team Magma. Domino tells them it's urgent and they need to hurry. Jessy fills James in on everything that's been happening and how Butch and Cassidy were demoted. James says this explains why Butch acted the way he did on Mount Pyre. The two set out the next day at the first chance they get. It takes 2 days to get there by boat. The night of the first day, Jessy and James have to stop on an island so that they can camp. They decide to let all of their Pokemon out from their Pokeballs, and Exploud and Aggron start to attack each other. Exploud uses Hyper Voice, and it hits Aggron, knocking it into deep water. James starts to panic and jumps in after it, but then Aggron starts to swim back to shore. It seems to have some sort of a resistance to water. Aggron then gets back to land and attacks Exploud. The two battle, heavily destroying most of the beach. It does not go unnoticed. From the shadows, they are attacked from multiple angles. Jessy and James think they are surrounded. Is it Team AQUA or Team Magma? But no humans appear. This goes on for hours until sunrise. Now that they have light, Jessy spots a Pokemon, and it's fast, attacking them from all over. James orders Metagam to use Psychic, but it has no effect. Jessy then sends Seviper after it, and after some chasing, Seviper finally catches up with it and has coiled around it. Jessy pulls out her Pokedex, and it's revealed to be an Absol, the Pokemon that is said to appear when great disasters are going to happen. Jessy wants to catch it. The way it moves and its evasiveness is something she needs on her team. With a Razor Wind, Absol breaks free from Seviper. Seviper goes after it, and Jessy orders a Poison Tail, and it connects. But Absol uses a Shadow Ball in response that connects with Seviper. Jessy then orders a Dig, and Absol tries to get away, but Seviper catches it and hits it with the Poison Fang. It puts Absol down, and Jessy throws a Pokeball and catches it. Now that Jessy has added Absol to her team, the two head out for Monsu Island. When Jessy and James arrive on the island, they meet up with Domino. She fills them in on everything. But off the shore of the island, Kyogre and Groudon are battling. James notices Pikachu on the head of Groudon and asks about it. Domino says she doesn't know, but their business is on Team Magma and Aqua's ships. Domino heads to Team Aqua's ship, and Jessy and James heads to Team Magma's. Jessy and James head into the Magma ship, and once inside, they are met by Butch, Cassidy, and Namba. Jessy tells Cassidy she knew something was up. They were working for Team Magma the whole time. Cassidy says, actually, this was only a recent decision. We were tired of the disrespect we were getting in Team Rocket, so we decided to join the winning team. Now, over with Domino, she has entered the Aqua ship, and after looking around, she is met by someone she is all too familiar with, the Iron Mask Marauder and his Flygon. He has become an enforcer for Team Aqua, and Alright, and that's all we have for today's video. Let me ask you guys, how do you feel about James's Lairon evolving into Aggron? And then Jessy's newest capture with Absol? And also, how do you guys feel about the double battle they had at the MOSSDEEP gym? And lastly, what do you guys think about Butch and Cassidy joining Team Magma and the Iron Mask Marauder joining Team Aqua? How do you think that this whole arc is going to end? We're getting very close to the ending. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe with notifications on, so that way you'll never miss a future upload, and drop the video a like, as it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you want to talk with the rest of the people in the Ronin clan, please join the Discord that's in the link below. I will see you in the next video.